Well, you know, we can't expect our attorneys to know everything about everything, but the secret is for them to know where to go to find that the information. I suppose that it would be just common sense to believe that our attorneys just can't be a total fountain of knowledge, but the fact is they know where to go to get to that knowledge, and that's the important thing.
Right.
How much of an impact has the computer made on the practice of law? In the old days, you know, you go into a lawyer's office and you'd have book after book of CCH books and so forth, and reference books. Gosh, I'd hate to be a book salesman today, because most of that stuff you can go right on the computer and know where to go.
Yeah, it's the advent of the internet and computers and everything like that has had a drastic impact, I think, on the legal profession. You can go online now and you can get, for instance, the Illinois state code is online. That's free to anybody to access if they want it. Doing legal research online is a lot different than it is or was back in book research.
What does it do to you, though, as an attorney, when people come in and think that, by golly, I've been on the internet and I know every bit as much as you do?
Yeah, there's that to be said.
Yeah.
You run into some of that?
You do, and some of the things on the internet are true and some of them aren't. And it's like
and
when
you
I go
would
to
know
WebMD and then go into the doctor and tell him what's wrong with me.
That's right.
I'm sure they don't like that. But
no, not so much.
Well, there's a fine line of knowing what you can expect if you go to the internet and look it up, because, as you suggest, some of that stuff is just not even begin to be true at all. And the same thing as you just mentioned, to go to your doctor. You've been doing a little research and you think maybe you know more about your problem than. So the practice of law is certainly a noble one, and down through the years you've served a great many people. We all have in our various businesses and professions those who we would really rather not associate with. We have in your profession what I call the mesothelioma lawyers. If that's correct. Well, the ambulance chasers, you know. And I see, we see these ads every day, and it just kind of demeans the profession in my judgment to see that, because it takes away the luster of what a good lawyer's worked doggone hard to get there.
Well, I think the advent of advertising in general is a generally new thing in the profession of being an attorney. I don't think you probably saw it at all 50 years ago. The powers that be have made it to be, I guess, more of a business than a profession that it used to be back when Abraham Lincoln and people like that did it. So I think you do see a lot more ads now than you would have back in.
Well, on television, every day some firm has a class action suit, and if you ever had a blister on your heel, you get a hold of us, because there are a lot of people who have, and we can get you big bucks for that, you know?
Well, I don't think we have the manpower at Woods and Bates to
No,
file
you bet on that. I guarantee that.
But does that ever make you, all these class action suits, do they ever make you snicker? I mean, what if I'd had a blister and I bought into that? What's the chance of my getting $1.298? Slim and none?
I don't know. I think probably the lawyers are the winners in those.
Maybe so, yeah.
The fact that in that profession, and doctors and other professions in that nature, you really, there's a lot of hours of hard work that go into before you can even sit down and take that exam. Now your profession, how is it regulated? We have the courts, lawyers that have a problem here or there, and how is that regulated in your profession, Blinn?
There's a there's a body called the ARDC, which is the Disciplinary Commission, and people, attorneys or clients or whoever it may be, makes a complaint to that board, and then that board will investigate the complaint to see whether or not it is founded or unfounded, or if there needs to be discipline, etc. And then that board will essentially hand out discipline. And it's supposed to be kind of a self-reporting, self-governing profession where you look out for problems within the profession yourself.
Like a peer review kind of business?
Right, right.
The fact that you spend so much time preparing, and then, now, a lot of fellows don't have the advantage that Blinn had to go into practice with a father, which is a great thing. You know, that's got to be very self-satisfying for your family. But there's a lot of young fellows out there, and ladies, who have to set up a practice from scratch out there. I suspect that's a little more difficult, particularly in, not so much here in a smaller community, but let's say a major metropolitan area. That would be very difficult, wouldn't it?
I think it would be extremely difficult. I know some people that have done it, and know some people that have done it very successfully. And there's obviously business aspects to the practice of law that you probably don't know until you get going in it and try to start your own firm or hang your shingle, I guess, as they say. But I think one of the biggest advantages of having someone that's experienced working with you is being able to draw from that experience and learn, and have them there as kind of a sounding board so that you aren't just out there on your own. And I've found kind of in the last 5 years that most attorneys are very willing to help if you ask. Yes, your dad was, or your grandfather was a good example of that. He had to start his own practice. He came here after he came back from law school. But this is the advantage of a small community. He had a lot of elder lawyers who were very, very willing to help young Bill out if he had questions and so forth. And that's got to be a huge advantage. In a major metropolitan area, who's a kid go to if he's starting a practice or she's starting a practice for advice? And here you have that advantage in a smaller community. Yeah, and I think they've realized that as a bar as a whole. And the state of Illinois has a mentoring program that you can sign up for, and there are attorneys that are signed up for that are willing to answer questions or be that sounding board for new attorneys starting out, which I think would be highly advantageous for everyone. Life is kind of like a big bridge game, isn't it? You know, you can read the book and know the rules, but until you've played the hand, you really don't see the whole picture, do you? I think that's right. Yeah. It's kind of like being a new father, isn't it, Blinn? You know some generalities, but the more specifics you have to find out on your own. The law practice here in Logan County, and again, all the smaller counties, is kind of a unique thing because you know people on a more intimate basis as opposed to a larger community. And I would think that would be advantageous to a young lawyer starting out, whether it's his own practice, coming into a practice with a family or anything. But it's just a matter of acquaintanceship around in the community. I think that certainly helps. I mean, you're going to go to court and you're going to know who the judge is. You're going to know who you're going to come up against. You're going to know who the attorneys are that are going to be there. You know, there's not going to be a whole lot of surprises in that area. Right. We have 3 floors of the courthouse. We have 3 courtrooms, and we have 3 judges. So you kind of know what you're going to get. Blinn, we appreciate the fact you've given up a little time this morning. Appreciate the fact that your father gave you some time off. We'll thank you for that. You'll just get through work a little bit. He'll probably make you work a little later this afternoon to compensate for that. We do. I take particular pride in having you with us this morning. We appreciate it very, very much. Blinn, we always try to close a Viewpoint program with a quote subject to the day. And I find this might be about right. A fellow named Norm Crosby says, "When you go into court, you are putting your fate in the hands of 12 people
we weren't smart enough to get out of the jury business in the first place. Thank you for Viewpoint. Thank you, Blinn Bates.
Thank you.